Can you hear me well? Yeah, it's working. Let me see your faces, because it's a little bit dark, and I really like to know who is in the audience. Okay, left side here, the middle, and the right. Beautiful. Hi, some familiar faces. I know that some people are coming, that's totally fine. That was a lunch break. No, that was a coffee break, not lunch break. So I'm going to take you for a personal journey. My name is Justyna Turek. I have 12 years of experience being at the intersection of design and business, and that's the perspective that I'm bringing today. As our hosts they were mentioning, I have many roles, and in design, what I have learned about design, you have many roles, and you're changing like a hat. One day, I'm a service designer when it's needed. The other day, I'm facilitating, and I have been doing that quite a lot recently. Obviously, some credibility. I've been working with, I think, more than 60 clients international. I've been also CEO once for a social innovation NGO. I was still running 2 agencies. Obviously been teaching, as many of our speakers that were talking today, and currently working at Hyper Island that maybe you're familiar with. But also, I'm going to do a small product placement because 10 years ago, we had a very similar idea with my co-workers in Poland. We established a conference. And it's 10 years of actually bringing design and business together to cause impact, to use sustainability to help us more. So that's also one of the events that I'm really proud of because I think, Marzi, you were talking about talking the same language. So actually the conference was Design Talks Business, because we want them to talk together, yeah? And obviously the sustainable element came along quite fast. But also beyond that, I'm a human being, so it's not only me being professional. I'm a serious runner, serious sport person. I love traveling, and if you're not going to find me at the office, if you're not going to find me at the gym, you might find me in a sauna or in the Baltic Sea. So it's good for my husband to know, where's Justyna? Okay, let me check all the saunas in the city. She will be there. And quite fast in my life, I discovered my purpose. And I think it's pretty good to know your purpose. And all what I'm going to tell you today, it's about how I'm bringing the people together, how I'm relearning people to collaborate better, to be more efficient, at the right time. Because I deeply believe that a collaboration is the best at the right time, not all the time. And why? Because after COVID, with all of the AI, with all of disruption teams working in totally different parts of the world, I want to bring back the value of collaborating. I want people to make collaboration great again, let's use the slogan, because I really find this exciting. I think this is when we're in our best possible situation, when we're working together. But I need to take you a little bit in time, because it's going to be a very personal journey, and it started 15 years ago, if I'm doing the math correctly. I went for Erasmus exchange to Helsinki. Other people were deciding to go to Spain, Portugal, hot places. I was like, no, I'm going to go to Helsinki, why not? And I was studying glass design. Super niche, super cool, very egocentric world to be in. And when I went to Helsinki and I went to the school, that was like a culture shock for me. And I'm Polish, so it's not about, we're having the same sea. The culture shock for me was when people were asking me if they want their help, if they want to support my project. They were asking me like, oh, I can help you with that. I can do this for you. We can collaborate. And I was in shock because I'm coming from a very competitive culture. I was like, are they stealing from me? I'm sure they want to do something with my project. I was in complete shock. I was like, what is happening in this school? Why people are like that? I'm coming from a very art glass, so it's a very art-oriented place. So I was like always creating from ego, yeah, alone. Why people want to talk with me? So I left Helsinki after half a year. I was very anxious, like why people want to do things like, this is my project, yeah? So my journey through the collaboration was a bumpy one. Then I moved for my internship, I moved to Paris in 2013. And this is the place that actually left me heartbroken with design. I was working in this very luxurious studio, producing lamp, chairs, product after another. And I remember designing this product, and I was thinking like, but why am I doing that? There was no discovery phase, there was no user testing, no interviews. You're so lucky. I was like, why? Like, why do we need another chair? And I remember asking this question to my boss, and he was not giving me answers. And I remember saying, thank you, Dan, real name, he's not here. Thank you, Dan, now I know what I don't want to do. I don't want to do this kind of design. And obviously, I left the city of love heartbroken, because I was like, why? Like, why do we design? Why, like, how to do this? And what do you do when you have a broken heart? You move across the globe to see if you can repair that. Why not? Sorry for, flying, all the things, it's not environmentally friendly. But I said, like, okay, let's move on. Let's find a fresh start. I need to redesign my design, because all the design I know, it's a product-based design. I don't know how to work with that anymore. So I moved to New York. It was in 2015. Design thinking was booming. Human-centered design, IDEO, what if, the design gym. Everyone was doing things, and I was just mesmerized. Because I found like I love being in this process of design, because this is when the real collaboration is happening, and I'm good at it. And I really love this moment, because I redesigned, and I understood that to make a design process, collaboration needs to be there. And I really understood now, what I didn't understood in Helsinki. So it took me actually traveling, across the globe to understand that. After half year, I decided to move back to Poland. I stayed a little bit in Poland, and then in 2022, I thought like, okay, let's rechange again. Let's move to Stockholm. Let's settle down and try to make sense out of this data. And the data, I mean the collaboration data. And I decided like this is going to be my base, and this is how I'm going to work with collaboration. Just to tell you that that was a bumpy road from an art perspective, product, into the process. And it all will make sense later on. I'm sure that all of you, you're on top of your game, checking from time to time what kind of new skills do you need to have, checking the Davos list. Okay, what is the new future skills that I need to have in 2030, yeah? And I understand that design isn't easy, yeah, these days. It's getting harder and harder. There is more and more things to do. And I want you, for a second here, to talk with each other. I'm going to give you the prompt for that. Why not? You need to talk with each other as well. I want you to complain. I want you to ventilate. I want you to think, when you're going to talk with the person next to you, it can be a random person, how often at your workplace, with your task, you feel like, oh my God, another skills, oh my God, another course, AI, I mean, with all of respect to AI, another things, like I really don't know what's happening in your design world, yeah? I want you to ventilate a little bit. We're gonna have 1 minute because I need to have more time for my presentation stuff, okay? Turn to the person next to you and just ventilate. How much, how often this is happening? Thirty seconds. 30 seconds for complaining, ventilating, talking everything about. Okay, slowly, slowly finishing. Finishing slowly. I'm trying. All eyes on me. Please, thank you. I'm self-sabotaging my presentation time. I'm going to cut this 1 minute from your Q&A, okay? You're going to continue that. And I totally understand you. I'm in the same position, every day opening LinkedIn and saying like, oh, she made this course, awesome, but now I want to do this course or the new skills and etc. It's really hard to be designers nowadays, yeah? And I'm going to tell you even better, yeah? Here you can see that we have let's start from 70s. Let's take product designer. Back in the days, in 70s, product designers, they were actually product designers. They were doing only product design. They were so lucky. It was so simple. Life was different, yeah? And you can see that every 10 of the years, the things were changing. We're adding the layers, because design is constantly changing, yeah? This is never ending, and it will be only, adding more and more. So in 2020, you were a product designer, interface design, you have interaction, experience, service, the systemic level, and I can add and add and add layers, yeah? It's like it's changing constantly, yeah? And the role of you as a designer is changing as well. We're not going to have a conversation. This is a homework to discuss maybe in the lunch break or in the lunch break tomorrow or any other coffee break. How many changes did you experience in your lifetime so far in your own role as a designer? I remember when I was starting design, do you remember this 3D AutoCAD thing? Oh, that was so back in the days. One change, another change. Design thinking was big, I was having classes about design thinking. Now, nothing, yeah? So you can count how many changes you already experienced, just to give a timeline for you, how many changes you already experienced. Sadly, there is even more. And I'm going to add another top layer to your task, but don't worry, on your table. But I'm going to help you later on how to take off the things and how to leave the most important, yeah? And I'm sure that you're familiar with this Venn diagram, like an algorithm or framework that is allowing us to make a decision if this idea is worth developing, yeah? And it was easy when there was this one Venn diagram. But we have a new player entering the game, yeah? We have responsibility. So it's another layer for you, for designers to carry on. Sustainability, responsibility, aka sustainability. But I'm not going to talk a lot about sustainability today. We're just going to focus on responsibility. But those things are interlinked together. I want this for you to sit with you as a designers. 70 to 80% of all product-related environmental impact is determined during the design phase of the product. Data is not lying. You're making a very responsible decisions that can influence, is actually influencing the environment. The way how you design, what kind of decision you're making is influencing 70 to 80%. That's a lot. Data is not lying. So that's why we need to be more cautious. We need to know how to design. I know it's hard, and I'm sorry that I was a little bit of dramatic. Now I'm going to change the side. I'm going to show you the future, because it's an opportunity that I want all of you, nevertheless of designers or business leaders, to touch upon, because there is a huge potential in it. But before we're going to move to that, I want to decode the responsibility word. It's responsibility, ability to respond. So modern leaders, modern designers, they should be able to respond. They should know what kind of decision to make, but not alone, with other people. That's why we need collaboration, yeah? And responsibility is actually enabling, is giving us power, designers, business leaders, whatever, to take the ownership over our decisions. And we need to feel confident. We need to feel this power, yeah? Having data is supporting us, yeah, to make the right decision. And we, designers, you, are the right people to do this. Why, you might ask, and I'm going to answer to you. Because you know the nuances. You're the ones that you're talking with the users. You know you're very creative. So you are able to make the right decisions. You know the big pictures, yeah? You're needed at the table with the business owners, decision maker, to make the decision together, not alone. So what I'm seeing is from designers, we are moving more into design-driven strategies, which was mentioned today. So we have more knowledge how to actually strategize. And maybe you're familiar with Netflix. There is this, if not, please check it, Google it. But there is this TV series or documentary that I was watching recently. I'm not going to add the company name because I don't want to do their product placement on that. But it's called Big Vape. And back in the days, design thinking was big, yeah? But with every new tool, with every new thing that is coming to you, I want you to be critical. You don't need to say like, yes, I'm going to now make all the courses, the new stuff. Think critically about that. Don't follow just new, shiny tools that are going to tell you, like, now we're going to solve all your design problems. Be responsible one. Think about why. Be critical, because then you are able to use them right. And if you're going to watch this documentary, you will see how design thinking was used to actually cause more harm. And I guess this is not what you want. Okay, so responsibility, this is where we are aiming. Responsibility is our destination, but collaboration is actually the tool how we are getting there. Because to be really responsible, you need to ask everyone around. You need to know all the perspective to make a right decision. And now we are going back to collaboration, so things will make sense now. And I want to share with you, and I have 8 minutes, and I'm going to do this in 8 minutes, and I'm not going to talk too fast. The 3 cases, very personal projects that I was working on, that actually taught me a lot about the collaboration. And when we start working with those companies, we didn't know that it's going to be so heavy on collaboration. I was entering those projects as a service designer, as a design lead, and I ended up like, managing so many collaboration around. And this might happen to you as well, to support responsibility. There's this Norwegian company, they reached out to us in 2021, Ogori, and what they wanted to do was so brave that we said like, okay, we love it, we're going to do this. And that was the time that I was leading Change Pilots company. So what they wanted to do is actually to have rental as a service, so product as a service. So imagine that they wanted to, not to sell their product, but rent it to their customer, to their clients. So they wanted to make a revolution around the ocean plastic. So imagine that you're not able to buy it, you can rent it, traceable ocean plastic, but then you need to give it back to us if you don't want to use it anymore, because we don't want this plastic to go back to the ocean, because then we need to do the job again. Amazing idea, but how to convince now the clients, how to convince the furniture companies, like, what do you mean? Like, we want to buy this from you. Why don't you want us to buy? So a lot of blueprints, service blueprints, a lot of conversation, a lot of interviews. And we discovered, and what I have learned about during this time, that I was doing so much work around the collaboration, because we needed to redesign or design from the beginning this totally new service with the clients, with the business owners. We needed to be with them like a partners. We needed to sit with them. It was not like, oh, we're going to present something to them and you're going to test. We needed to be with them. We needed to visit them. We needed to do this everything together. And in the beginning, we did not obviously thought about that. And obviously, aligning, I'm sure that they are aware of that, but it was a huge part of this responsibility element, that we needed to align all the perspective, because the ecosystem was huge, and the stakeholders were very dependent on each other. So that's the one case. Very proud of that. And obviously, as we are talking about responsibility, and I was mentioning sustainability, apparently you can't have a presentation about that without mentioning Patagonia. So yeah, I did work with Patagonia. They reached out to us in 2021 with the campaign WUD Power. They were doing the campaign in all around the world, and they wanted to make a Polish chapter. But the challenge was that they wanted to support a potential transition for Poland to be able to establish energy communities. So the communities that they can do the green energy together, and they can share, and they can, support each other. But the trick was like that. That was not possible in Poland back in the days. And they were like, but we want to do this. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be hard, but let's try. And what we discovered pretty fast, that we are designing for the future that we didn't know. So how to talk with stakeholders, with partners, with users about something that they can't touch. It's like eating a candy through the paper, You feel it's okay, you can feel still something, but it's not actually eating. Yeah, and to talk about to the Polish people, like, yeah, you could have energy, but not now, maybe in 10, 20 years. Imagine that. So we obviously designed the whole campaign, a different one in Poland. We designed many activities. But the most important part was actually to take all stakeholders and align with them that we need to think long-term. We need to think in the right perspectives. We need to think in waves. So we finished after 1 year. We did finish a project. And we were very happy, like, okay, but we don't know what's going to happen. And guess what happened? After 1 year, the Russian aggression towards Ukraine enlarged. And our Polish government, they were shaking, yeah? And they changed legislation after this event, which shouldn't happen. But they changed legislation. And we were happy because we had things prepared. We were working with our partners, we were working with NGOs, with different user stakeholders for the future that we didn't know that is going to come in 1 year. And they were prepared. So that's why it's very important to have the right partners acting in the right time. And we didn't know about that. We just learned by process. I have 3 minutes, perfect, and I have a third example. Good Looking Studio is to have a totally 3 different cases. Good Looking Studio is a case, it's advertising and mural painting. So yeah, you know what is mural painting. I thought that is the only Polish word. And they came to us because they wanted to have a better services to their customers. They want to make their customers happier. They wanted to have more and more and more projects. And we started working with them on this discovery. But we were so focused with them on their external stakeholders that we forgot about something very important that we found out through the interviews, through the organization research, that they have something very important inside the company. They have a huge amount of internal stakeholders, the painters, that people are they're going on a mural and they're doing that, no matter the weather. But the company was so sticked in their mind to only think about the externals that they forgot about the internal stakeholders. And with them, with the painters, we discovered it's very important to actually be to the stakeholders, to the closest one, because they know the decisions going to implement on them is going to affect them the most. And they were the source of the most amazing innovation, not the outside customers, not the outside stakeholders. Painters, which was, I think, around 50 of them, all of them amazingly creative people. And that was for us very important about the collaboration. We needed to, to maintain the tension between them, internal politics, yeah? Exactly. Just because someone approves a design doesn't mean that they're affected by it. The painters, they were affected because they were the ones that they need to take their gears and they need to go and paint, no matter the weather. And they told us a lot. So all of those things that I was mentioning here, all of this is decision-making, the right decision-making. And I didn't know that this is what I'm going to do when I entered those jobs, the briefs, conversation with the companies. I was there as a designer, I'm going to design things, I'm going to do a service, etc. But it ended up that I'm making such a huge decision-making in talking to the right people, engaging the right partners, and collecting, obviously, as you're all doing, the right insights from the customers. About the collaboration, what is very important, I was talking that in the beginning, a good collaboration should happen at the right time. We shouldn't overdo it, overload that ourselves with 'I deeply believe that this also needs to be planned. So you as a designer, You can think about it as a process, as a marathon. In which exactly moments I'm collaborating with this department in my company, in which exactly element I'm collaborating with other stakeholders, when I'm doing the interview, when I'm getting the people and testing it, etc., and etc. It's very important not to do this too much because you're going to get burned out. And collaboration is also, can cause too much of the harm. And I'm going to leave you with a few insights and suggestions that with seniority comes great responsibility, not a burden, but as an opportunity. And this is what I wanted you to flip the narrative, yeah? Like, it's heavy. There's so many things for us designers to do, but it's also opportunity to choose wisely. And also to share the decisions, to time intervention, and to influence the direction of the collaboration. Because this is where you are in power. You can tell your business department, like, we need to collaborate with these people, we need to collaborate with them, because you need that, yeah? And I wouldn't be myself if I wouldn't add something about, behaviors and emotional. I know this might be scary. Oh, now I need to make decisions, now I need to invite stakeholders, and we need to navigate this it's like on the party, yeah? But don't worry, those things can coexist. You can have anxiety, and you can have a confidence at the right time as a designer. You can have those, in Polish, there's this beautiful saying, you have two wolves inside you, yeah? A good wolf and a bad wolf. You can have all of it, yeah? You can be a very confident designer, going on a meeting, collaborating with others, but at the same time, you can be anxious one. Or you can feel growth and mistakes at the same time. So I want you to allow yourself to experiment, to dare, to be more decision-driven. And I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Justyna. We have a few questions from the audience, and we have a little time for these as well. So the first question, when design decisions are made collectively across product, is the designer still the author today?
I think everyone can be co-authoring these decisions. I think needs to be the situation that you're inviting everyone at the table and making this decision together. Because imagine that, for example, if someone is so tied to their decision, if something is a mistake, then it's going to be on this person. So it's very important to align with everyone. Okay, this is my idea, but are we all accepting that? Are we all doing it, yeah? And then we are acting as a team. So that's what I meant by collaboration, that everyone should make this decision together. But maybe designer can be the one that is actually bringing something. Like, okay, let's look together at this, yeah? I hope this is helpful. It's in a way, it's a little bit of harm.
How do you buy in people into collaborating if they are stuck in silos? Would you mind sharing some examples and methods that have worked?
Oh, love that question. Call me. I'm happy to help. What I love about working cross silos is to understand each other, listen to each other. I think someone was saying today, come to someone, go to them, ask them about, can you show me how you're working? Can you tell me a little bit how you're making the decision in your department? And then by that, it's very simple. I know it's no brain, but asking them to show you, you can learn a lot, and you can use that when you're working on your project, and they can do this the same. Do you remember the story about Helsinki, me going and people asking, do you need help? Do this. Give to get. Give your attention, give your creativity to other departments, and what you're going to get in return, their interest and their help as well. Very simple. Start with that, and then let's see how it's rolling. Perfect. And then I can answer more on that.
Thank you very much. You can follow up the other questions at Slido. Thank you for a great talk. And now we move on